Hey folks, good afternoon. It is Alan Saunders, and it is Sunday. I'm not usually coming to you on this day, I understand, but got some news here from owners' meetings here in Palm Beach, Florida. Just talked to Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin for about 20 minutes about a number of topics, but as you can imagine, being the first time that Tomlin has spoken to the media since the end of the season, a lot of it centered around the quarterback, around Aaron Rodgers, the situation with him. I'm going to summarize what he said here, and then I'm also going to include you the audio from the Aaron Rodgers-centric portion of that conversation here on the YouTube channel and on our audio platforms. I know it's not video, but this session is not video recorded, but I feel like it's about the most candid that we ever get Mike Tomlin over the course of the year, and it's worth sharing with you guys. Tomorrow, we will actually have video from Tomlin at the breakfast 7 a.m. kind of deal, so I will have talked to him again before we talk again on Morning Rush on Monday, so hence the Sunday late night addition to the YouTube feed and your podcast feed, and also the audio nature of most of these remarks from Mike Tomlin. I'll also include the questions so you get a little context. Large group of Pittsburgh reporters here in Palm Beach at the Breakers Hotel, which is beautiful, as you can see behind me. Just to summarize, though, I think Mike Tomlin said the one thing that everybody, no matter whether they want Aaron Rodgers or they don't want Aaron Rodgers as Steelers quarterback, can agree on, didn't want to hear, which is the Steelers are in absolutely no rush for this process to happen. He said he doesn't feel like Rodgers not having made a decision has impacted their free agency at all, says he does not believe it will impact their draft plans at all, and also said he doesn't feel like the team would need to have a quarterback in place until the start of training camp. So buckle up. We could be here a while, or at least until Aaron Rodgers gets back from wherever he is. Mike Tomlin did say he will not be joining Aaron on any darkness retreats, so at least we have that going for us. More with Tomlin tomorrow, and here is some. They are edited because I've cut out all the non-quarterback stuff. Our discussion with Mike Tomlin here at the NFL owners meetings today. Hope you enjoy it, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Right, Mike, your quarterback situation. You guys talked about you wanting to keep one of Leader Russ or Justin. Obviously, they're both in new locations. Where do you guys stand on current pursuit of a quarterback, and what might have happened? Why those guys aren't back?
Obviously, we're still evaluating the acquisition of a guy at that position, whether it's free agency and or the draft. And so we're doing our due diligence, communicating with some free agents, also preparing for the draft. Omar and I just got off on a nice tour here last week. We were at Notre Dame, Ohio State, and Texas, for example. Our last 3 trips, I think all 3 of those institutions have quarterbacks that are draft eligible. And so it's been a good process for us. I know what we said regarding Russell and Justin, but it didn't pan out that way. Such is life, in our game, and particularly in free agency. But we're optimistic about the room that we're constructing. Obviously, we're excited about having Mason Rudolph back. Our knowledge of him, not only as a player, but as a man, it's exciting to have him back. And I know he's excited to be back. But certainly, we're going to continue to explore all our options in terms of rounding that room out.
Mike, what can you say and tell us about Aaron Rodgers and your discussion with him, where that stands, and how real is that possibility?
It's been reported that he spent a day with us, man, and it was a really good day. Specifically, he and I obviously have known of each other for some time, and so it was really good to, spend some time together, man, and get to know each other more intimately. But it is free agency. It is a process. I have nothing of any more significance to add other than that.
Mike, did you anticipate that this free agency process would be, with the quarterback position specifically, would take this long to add more to the room?
I've learned over the years not to, to be light on my feet from an anticipation perspective. So I don't know that I'm shocked by anything.
When would you like to have this, at least another quarterback under your roof? We're weeks or so out now from the draft, and so certainly we all like to have settled circumstances, but it is a process. The acquisition of talent, whether it's at the quarterback position or all positions, we spend a great bulk of our spring and off season, putting together a 90-man roster, and so it is ongoing.
When you met with Aaron, did you ask him what his timeline is for making the decision?
I didn't. I really wanted to spend more of our time just, getting to know him better, things that he values as a player and a man, and what he might be looking for.
with his next stop.
Mike, is there an internal deadline with him?
Not to my knowledge. I don't know that we've approached it from a deadline perspective. Certainly, as I mentioned, you'd like to have settled circumstances, but deadlines don't often bring that to a head.
Would you like to have it settled before the draft?
Hadn't thought a lot about it, to be honest with you. I'd be misleading you if I gave you that.
How much does his timeline and that timeline affect your draft plans and who you could take
Our draft
first
plans
round?
are our draft plans. We're right now just information gathering and getting to know the whole field. I'd imagine that focus and those details are narrow as we get close, but we're a pretty decent distance away from some of that narrowing.
Because the pursuit of somebody like Rodgers hindered your free agency plans of where you want to go with somebody else as in a different position, defensive lineman.
I don't feel like our free agency plans have been hindered by anything, to be quite honest with you, particularly the pursuit of one individual, no.
Mike, for the same reasons you like Metcalf, what is it about Aaron that you like or would like to add to your team?
He's not on our team, so I'm not going to do a whole bunch of talking about that, though. Nice try. You're a Grizzly veteran.
What would you like to see from that position maybe that you didn't get last year?
I hadn't thought about all of that, particularly as it pertains to relative to last year. I'm not in that business. It's our goal and job to build a strong team as we can for 2025, knowing that the challenges are going to be unique to 2025, and we're working in that spirit. Certainly, you like to learn from your past experience, the history of it, but very rarely do we make decisions in reaction to or response to, because again, the challenges are always moving.
Aaron mentioned that it was his preference to have quarterbacks in the room that had a similar skill set. Is that a preference that you share? Is adding Mason? Do you want another guy that kind of mirrors Mason, or
whatever Art said?
If Aaron does decide to go elsewhere or retire, what have you, what would be Plan B for you guys?
Again, I don't know if we're identifying anything as Plan A, Plan B, or Plan C. We're just simply looking at the field of available people, whether it's free agency or the draft, and making decisions and gathering information accordingly.
Mike, whether it's he or not, do you still have to add a veteran quarterback?
I don't know that we necessarily feel that way. But again, we're just looking at all the people that are available to us.
how do you evaluate the strength of the field that you have to choose from to go Plan A, Plan B?
Again, I'm not evaluating anybody that's not on our team. It doesn't benefit us or them for that matter.
How do you?
I think that's why we acquired him, man. We like Mason Rudolph, but that's no secret.
I guess 2 straight years you've totally turned over your quarterback room. That's not ideal. How do you end up breaking that? How going about that? I mean, it's just like throwing something at the table, throwing the darts or something like that. How do you break that?
Oftentimes I say two is a pattern, is a cliche that I use in coaching, but I don't know that I'm alarmed by that as it pertains to this discussion. We're just simply trying to put together the very best team that we can put together for 2025. Last year we had a group in that room that were on 1-year deals, and so the possibility of what we're doing right now was a real thing. But that's just one isolated scenario. If we're having similar conversations next year this time, it's probably more of a discussion for us.
Does Mason's experience in your Steelers building help, or with the new offensive coordinator? Does that
his experience in our building certainly helps. Not only helps him, but helps us. And I guess that's why it probably doesn't alarm me in answering your previous question, because of our previous experience and relationship with Mason Rudolph.
Mike, at what point in the team development process does it become a concern to not have a quarterback in the building, or to not have the quarterback room rounded out? Is it when OTAs start, mini camp? Is there a point in your mind where it hinders the team?
In the spring, it's about teaching and learning and getting familiar with players and making sure they get familiar with some of the things that we value. It's not an evaluation time of the year for us. It's certainly not a time of the year where we're focused on readying ourselves for the game action. Certainly training camp would kind of be a line of demarcation in terms of that discussion. The spring is about teaching and learning.